Good morning, happy people. My name is Jay Song. Everything in today's video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Today finds us July 20th and 2026. Glad you're here. Thank you for spending your morning with us. If you have, we're going to be doing some chart requests today. Keep in mind, next week we are going to be covering the part number 2 of our seminar that we're covering, and that's going to be our seminar, the right questions volume. The right questions, version 1. And the purpose of this seminar is to give people a strong and overview of some of the level 1 skill set. So what I'm doing is I'm taking our art and breaking it up into many parts and pieces. And I've had a lessons page. This is more in line with what I'm doing and releasing for my book. But the first part of this book is gonna be a lot to get people started in technical analysis and this kind of, specifically in our JSON's sword method. There's a lot of fun things we can do with the chart, but my goal is to get people getting them started with practical techniques. And the 3 that I'm choosing for the level 1 skill sets is going to be foundational moves, healthy weakness, and trend. If people know this or apply this, they know a lot of what they are needing. And in addition to all of that, no matter what type of technical analysis system you guys use, whether it's Elliott wave or some kind of indicators or advanced or only volume profile or whatever you guys are using to read and make decisions and determine, this is going to be a very good foundation to get people started. Now, this is not the setup course. There's a setup course that I'm going to be including in my book, and there's setup lessons that are in available, and that's basically like, well, how do you do trading view? I never touched a chart before. Which button do I press? That is going to be covered in a video. Well, that's already covered in some of my videos, and I will include some of that in my book, Crypto Crayons. But the thing is, I want to get you guys enough to give you some meat, get you started learning and running around. And then there's certain, so this seminar is geared towards those 3 things, but also it's geared towards the right questions, which is the name of the seminar. I think there's some main root questions that everybody needs to ask themselves. And so video number 2 is going to be filmed Saturday, July 25th, 2026. I want you guys to show up. I want you guys to see it. I want you guys to have a good time with it and pay attention, take notes. We're going to be going over lots of examples, further on. But the document that I'm preparing for you guys, or that I have been preparing for you guys, a lot of it's just to get you guys started with this type of art. So pay attention if you guys are wanting some more beginner-friendly stuff. I want you guys to come to the seminar. We're going to talk about foundational moves, how they relate to trading, how they relate to this art, and to show you guys and what some of the things we're looking for. All right. With that said, I think I'll start with and I'll say announcement, seminar number 2, promo, July 25th, 2026, 9 a.m. EST. All right. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to do some requests, and I think that's where the requests need to go. We're going to start with Bitcoin. And there's something I think is going to be going on. I think Bitcoin's going to hit closer probably to 69. Right now, I think we're about 65. And I'm going to show you guys why I think Bitcoin's going to probably hit about 69. So here, let's pull up a chart. And I'll show you some of the things I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Oh, that's right out of my book, huh? No, I want to look at this one. So that's on Bitstamp. I want to look at BTC. Well, I guess this is a good one. I can do it for you guys. Okay, we're gonna I'm gonna do one from scratch, but basically what I'm gonna do is show you first one of my older charts and what I'm looking at. So this is a chart of Bitcoin. This is more recent action. I can talk about the local health that appeared a couple of days ago. When health is active, we have a higher chance of going up. And right now, you need to know that's around 69,238, 68,330. Why that is? A lot of that has to do with the fact that we're in a local health. Now, please don't misconstrue me. I'm not saying we're going to go to the moon. Okay, Bitcoin's only at 64,000 as far as that was today, yesterday, I think it was, and the day before. You know, I've been talking about this image. I've posted this image, I think, in one of my tutorials on the what's it called? My advanced classes, map builders, it's called. By the way, our next advanced map builder session is on the 27th, and I should put that on there too, so you guys have that. Map builders next session, July 27th, 2026. It's going to be 2 p.m. Arizona, 5 p.m. EST. It's really weird because in Arizona we never change our time, but everywhere else in the world we change time. You guys have daylight savings everywhere in the world, so I always have to try to compensate it. I think the better way is to stop measuring it in EST and just measure it in Arizona time. Sorry, everybody can Google Arizona time and you'll know what time it is. So I think that's the better option for me to show you guys. So a 9 a.m. here is actually 6 a.m. Arizona. So if I'm trying to compensate for EST time, I'm always having to convert it into Arizona. But Arizona's like the universal time. Ooh, time pauses in Arizona. All right. So in my advanced map builder session, I was doing some examples using this. That's how I got some of those highlighters where that was. You need to know that price entered a weakness here recently. In fact, we talked about this in my one of my examples in my book. I think was here. Sorry, in my mini book. This is the mini book. Right there. Okay. From February to June, there was a nice up move, foundational up move, and in the up move, we entered a weakness here, and it was when price fell approximately below 70,159, and you could see this on a daily chart, and that was about right there at the sword cut. Okay, we're going to read some of the data that is happening, and I think we're due for a move back up, and I'm going to tell you a few reasons on why I think that is. Let's first break this apart, and I'm going to take some time to teach this on why I think price needs to come back up a little bit higher. And this is all short-term stuff. This is like maybe a month or so. The reasons I got to talk about this is so that you can kind of see these a little bit in advance. You're going to know when there's a fight coming on. Now, again, this is not the big stuff. This is not saying that I think Bitcoin is going to have a rise and be able to clear these areas. So I'll plot already some things on the board to talk about that. But if they happen, you'll know where it's at. Number one, we have a parabolic that is approximately about here. Okay, just going right to there. That means that Bitcoin ideally needs a larger health that's approximately in that location. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Okay, I'm not talking about that one. I am talking about, and that's above about 75, I think. 75. I'm talking about a move back up closer to, again, 65s, 69s. Let's plot on what we have so far. We have this up move here, and can anybody tell me what's happening in the volume approximately at these areas from the February to the 28th, especially as price moves into a local health based on its foundational move? This is this today's session is a little bit intermediary. Okay, it's going to be somewhere around levels 5 or 6, which I will explain more in the future. Okay, so this is our local health, and we can, look at the chart as something like this. This is when things start to change. But it's not necessarily indicative that things are going to change fully. It just lets us know, how do we know when there's a fight? Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. How do we know when price should expect a fight? Thank you, Melody. A fight looks different if the market is going up. If the market was going up, a fight would be the same question, but it'd be, how do we know we're going to get pushed back down and then we should go back up? Bullish or bearish? Okay, that would be that. This is to help us answer, because there's times fights help us understand when things get risky or when there's opportunities to counter trade. Okay, I'll write that down. Fights let us know when the trend itself, the main trend, is risky, and when there is possible opportunities to counter trend. Okay. With counter trend trading, you must have clear and defined exits. Okay, anytime you're doing like intra, or you're scalping, you're fighting against a main trade. As I told you on Saturday, I'm going to stop answering those main questions, because I'm going to stop answering those smaller questions unless I see that you as a team, or you as people, or you as individuals, I'll make an exception. I have done your homework. If you say I've done my homework, or you send me a chart, or you send me this, or I'm going to be like, okay, if you do the big stuff out the way, you handle the big stuff, I'm going to be like, yeah, you're ready to $2 small stuff, because everything will make sense in context. But if I only say, yeah, like, oh yeah, there's a buy here on Bitcoin, which I think there is. I think there's coming up a buy on Bitcoin. And if there is, we can talk about those counter trends, because you know where the tops are, you know when the exits are, you know when it's okay to get back in line. It's like a child that says, like, they're waking up at not child. Let's see, it's like the youth camps. I was a youth pastor many years, and we take them to youth camps. And at youth camps, some of the teenagers would sneak out in the night in the last sessions. And they would sneak out in the night, and they would go to the gym, and the major camp counselors were there, and the junior camp counselors were just like, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just having fun in the gym, and everybody's throwing dodgeball, and they're not going to sleep when they're supposed to. If the head camp counselor who was knocked out comes out and says, hey, this is that, he plans the big event, everybody needs to have assemble here, then it's okay if he's just sleeping to sneak out and go to the cafeteria and raid the cafeteria to eat some midnight snacks. Okay, there's this time, but there's also a time when everybody needs to wake up, everybody needs to be there, everybody needs to do this, and there's a time when everybody's just having a great old time. Okay, do you have time? You got a class that starts at 6 p.m. or it's high school. You got a class that starts at 11 a.m. Do you got time to run to the cafeteria for a snack? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If you know the major stuff out the way, you're prepared. Okay, you are prepared for the smaller stuff. Okay, that you guys got it? I want you guys to be prepared for the smaller stuff because you already did your homework on the big stuff, and that's a lot what again my conference is talking about, to make sure that you all have some kind of reference point and manual that you can use for the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, if you got all the big stuff out the way, you're okay to counter trade. So now, how do we know when there's a fight and counter trend? Let's see. We need a few things, and I'm going to talk about the ingredients. We need, by the way, it is possible counter trends can turn into longer term trends, but most of the time it's not a straight shot. You have to take them in their segments, and I'm going to make sure you guys have that. Counter trends can turn into larger trades that last into longer time periods. An appropriate action is to take counter trades with smaller positions, such as 1/5, and only adding to the position after price has proven itself. And I got this from that trader Vaughn, whatever his name was. Man, it was such a powerful video. I hope to share it to you guys. Such a powerful video what he was doing. I've been teaching you guys this for about a couple months now. He breaks down his trade and he says, I'm only adding to it if the trade is performing. He doesn't throw all his money at once. He's just only adding to his position after price has performed. And then he does another thing, because it's such a great way to explain it. He also moves his stops up. If you're using Jenkins stops, are the second low, previous low. And that's for that today. That's not the source of today's teaching. I did some audio podcast about that. I'm not going to be talking about that today. And that's not how you spell appropriate. This is inappropriately spelled. Appropriate. Okay, that's how you spell appropriate. So you can take counter trades there. So an example, a wrong example of a counter trade would be something like this. So we see there's a health here. Health appears. Example of counter trade. Health appears here. But it is not, but we can see in hindsight we can see, how do you spell hindsight? That the trade that the price of Bitcoin, that price made a lower low. Okay, so this is not the part that takes us to the moon. This is not the thing that takes Bitcoin to the moon. And I should say the thing we're going to talk about the low, because everybody's trying to catch a falling knife. I'm going to show you guys how to counter trend. if we were trending, a better resistance is actually at that time closer to there, based on the actual straight. Okay. However, if one was taking bullish trades here, an appropriate exit may have been in this area near, and the price was 77,970. Advanced exits could also have been located using target system. And I'll show you that real quick. Volume profile. Okay, hear me out. A simple volume profile from the top to the bottom, farthest bottom out, approximately. It's going to give us a target. First target would have been here. One of these. This one. Let's see which one it was. And this one. Those are the two targets for target system. First target gave us some resistance, local, but it was already right at the break. Probably why we had some issues there. And the second was at the target, the actual resistance. This would have put us closer to the top side, here and here. Okay? And I will take and put those images here. This target was near 88,505. For those trying to squeeze out some more dollars, this kind of stuff is very, very helpful in your counter trades. Come. No. We delete that. So say we're not a lot of the goal, by the way, a lot of the goal in the upcoming seminar is to stop you guys from turning your smaller trades. Well, I think I spent enough time on that one, and I'm going to go to turn our scalpies into long trades. I'm going to be giving you guys some examples about Frodo. I said a simple stroll in the park or a small adventure in the trading world should never become a journey to the fires of Mount Mordor. You can live to regret it. It can become a very bad thing to take your trade and your little scalp or your little buy and think it's going to be the thing that's going to take you. It's the bottom now. It's the bottom. We need to buy now that it's the bottom. No, this is the counter trading involves a skill that you're going to have. That's more than dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging is not really a skill. Okay, it's not a skill. Okay, dollar cost mapping, but using JSON lows is not a skill. I think that I'm going to challenge everybody to read. Okay, knowing some of the bottoms based on certain things like our oscillations. If I wanted to pick out some bottoms, we could. Just because we're at a bottom doesn't mean it's a low. You can break into weakness. A lot of cryptos do that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, well, how do we trade back when it's up, and then how do we know when it's a fight? Okay, that's what I'm going to get to. This is what I'm teaching today. I may do a few requests at the end, but as you guys know from Saturday, I'm telling you guys some very important things. Okay, so let's take some of these out. This local health gives us opportunity to trade only short term back to some of the main areas of trend. Number 3, in other words, local health, if traded against the main trends, tell us that the trade needs to be taken in steps. In an example like this, one may have permission on smaller charts to trade up towards 77,000, or even 88,000. Is it 88,000? Okay, 81,000. Or even 81,000. But to throw more money at this trade, the next health above those areas would need to be activated, is the word I'm using. Okay, so in other words, this health is here. Health. Price is not here, so it's not activated. Price is not here, therefore it is not activated. Now again, this is more of the simple stuff. If you guys got the simple stuff, I can give you more advanced stuff. We can do a lot of stuff besides target system. We could have looked at this area and it beyond volume. We can do the one I really like to do, RSI price base. We can look up here to see if we got RSI price base with a major trend. We can do a lot of reasons on why we don't want to be shorting here. Now, there's a few factors we're going to have to be aware of. Okay. Some of the factors is that the reasons these are so dangerous. Okay. The reason 77 or 81K may have been so dangerous is that it is part of the main trend. It's simply, that's all it really is. The trend hasn't changed at that time. Okay. And therefore, we have to calculate many things. Therefore, near those areas, so that we are not caught off guard, we must use those areas to read. Okay? There are many things we can read, such as RSI price base to the downside with the trend. That's advanced. Okay. We can read target system. Here showing near 81K on the daily chart. We can read the volume, okay, looking for selling, or in this case, lack of interest in the up move, which I'm going to talk about in just a few moments because I told you how we're going to identify the fight. Target system is a bit advanced. And volume profile is a bit advanced. And nothing of this is beyond you. Okay, these are not level 1. It is to let you know that these will show. Okay, and I'm going to prove it to you in just a moment. Just real quick, because I want to stay near the level 1 for everyone. Like, you know, you guys are getting this. You guys are, you know, we're trying to teach you and bring you to higher levels. But as I said, I understand that everybody may be at different levels, and so I'm making a universal standard for this notation. Okay, so here we go. We already demonstrated that we can find the target system here. Based on target system, it would have identified 1 and area number 2, which is near 81,000. That should say, this needs to say 81, not 88. I said that wrong, right? Here's how I'm going to fix this real quick. They're 81. Here we go. All right. Here's how we can fix this. Oh, did I take a screenshot of this one, number 4? No, I did. In order, keeping my record for you. See his photo. There it is. We will show you the lack of interest in this up move, which means there is an up move here. Price is moving up at that time. Do we have volume showing that price does not want to go in this direction? Yes, we do. Okay. Comparatively to what's been happening in the volume, at least on this chart, we can see there's very little interest in Bitcoin in the dollar at this moment. Okay. Now we may have to look at this other places. Okay. Although this volume is fishy. In the dollar, we can see this is the type we are looking for. And that's way too big. Decrease in volume relative to this area. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing. We're going to look at RSI price base. I'm going to pull up the indicator, and I'm going to be looking at it in conjunction with the major trend. So to do that, I'm going to pull up my indicators. I think we're going to hit the plus button. Nope, that's that one. Is it this one? They always change this on me every time. Here we go, that one. Okay, this one right here near the bottom. And then I'm going to pull up my RSI. The one I use is the RSI. This one, it's a different one I like to use. Simple Neural Network Transform RSI. That's the one I always use. But when you use it, you got to turn off the bar coloring, because it will turn your candles pink and green. I don't like that. I don't need all that. So you just click on the indicator itself, and I'm going to shrink that. And then what I'm going to do is just go to your where it says bar color and turn that off. That's most of what I use. It's good enough. Okay. Now what I'm looking for with RSI price base is, if RSI price base, we just simply, this is just a really quick tutorial about RSI price base. Super easy. Super easy. Where your top is, you identify the top energy center. Then you identify the next top. So you need two tops to do this generally. Well, you don't even need two tops. This is going to be our second top. And how it works is you simply look for the color change, find color change, and you mark the area with a ruler or a flat line. When price returns to this area, we pay attention. Okay. Then we, step 1, step 2, step 3, watch RSI for when it returns, especially if it rejects into weakness. This will signal the top. Okay, often. Top or next top signal. Has everybody got that? This is very powerful technique. Okay. I don't want to be giving this stuff out for the smaller stuff if you have not done your homework. That's my big crackdown over the next month. I said you guys got 1 month to get skilled up level 1. Okay. You got 1 month, as I told you in my seminar. I'm cracking down on everybody. I want you all at least to be at level 1 starting within a month, because after that I'm not going to accept any excuses, as I told everybody. Okay, we're going to go as a class together. Okay, I want you guys everything, and by level 1, as I told you guys, I want you mastering the major questions. Okay, primarily these 3 techniques, right? Found in, where was it again? The very beginning. What my goal is, these 3. You're going to be able to identify the foundation, and the most important foundation moves, identify health and weakness and be able to draw them. You're going to identify the main trend and identify subtrends. Subtrends, therefore, in this context, would be something like this local health. That would be the subtrend. We're now going up, but it doesn't change all of the main trend. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, therefore if we were looking, we would have known that this also would have been a subtrend. It would have had a local health at the time, but it didn't change the game. Okay. Here. Subtrend. Going up, but does not change the game. RSI signal price base. And that was number 5, right? Okay. This is how we identify these are ways that we, when we are in counter trend, we know when the drill sergeant wakes up. We know how much time we have. If we have time to get a snack before class starts. Okay. Just little simple examples so that, again, we don't turn a mountain into a molehill. So we're not getting caught off guard. So we're not chasing really trends we shouldn't be chasing. And if we do, we have clear and defined exits. Okay. Why did that not go? I'm not sure why it didn't go. Okay. These help us know how much time we have, I should say time or price, because time is an advanced concept, we have to trade against the main trade. And so that we do not turn a local scalp or daily short-term trade into a long-term holding. Okay? Because the real money in this situation is in the up move. All right, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. This is this subtrend is also a counter trend, by the way. I'm just trying to make this like a lot like a rule book. Now I'm going to show you the next one. The next counter trade or subtrend is this. Subtrend number 2. Did this change the game? No, it did not. Subtrend number 2, we can see, did also not change the game. Number 6. Subtrend number 2. This also may present some bullish opportunity. note. Remember, when trading counter trend, as I got to be careful with the subtrend, because subtrend can be a part of the oscillation. So we're going to keep using the word counter trade. Subtrend activates counter trend area. Okay, there's a reason we're doing all of this. Remember, when trading counter subtrend trends, you must have clear defined exits, a plan. A plan. What is your escape plan? That's a better word. Escape plan. Otherwise, you'll be subject to what I said in number 5. You don't want to get caught in this. Otherwise, you will be caught holding on when the main trend resumes. All of this is part of number 1. How do we know when there's a fight? First, we have to know the main trend. And again, I know people are not going to like me for this, but I have to make sure that you guys know the basics. Because if you can't identify the main trend, you have no business trying to sub-trade it. I'm going to say that again. If you can't identify the main trend, you have no business trying to counter trade it, because you don't know when the main trend is going to resume, or where it should resume, or where it may resume. Even if you're right, where it may resume. You have to know at least those little, those easy things. And they teach you that in all the big seminars. Go online, go to the old archives. Go back to the 2000s. Go back to the 1980s seminars by some of the greats. And they'll always tell you the same thing. The trend is your friend. Some of you guys, you don't want to make friends with the trend. Why? The trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. It really is your friend. He will be good to you. He's going to be like, guys, I'm going down. You're like, no, you're going up. You're a boss, babe. You're so and it's like, no, I'm going up. He's like, I'm going down. You're like, no, you're going up. You're just lying to yourself. You're just living in Delulu. Okay, don't live in Delulu. Okay, don't let that be your name. Don't let it be Delulu. Okay, if the trend is telling you what the trend is telling you, pay attention. What do I always tell you guys? If a guy says, I'm a bad guy, listen to him. If a girl says, I'm not a good girl, listen to the girl. Okay, most of the time you can't see it because you're living in your fantasy. Your mom will tell you. Listen to your mom. And if you don't, then get some advice. Get a second opinion. Because when we're emotionally high, we can't sometimes snap ourselves out to see the truth. We got to understand some of these things. I am now teaching you a little bit of this advanced concept, counter trend, so that you guys kind of have a reference point for this. But if you can't master this stuff here, you ain't ready. It's not going to, you got to know the context. Because if I don't have, it's like this. If I don't got this and that, I'm thinking this is going to the moon. Or if I don't see where the danger is, I'm thinking it's going to the moon. Now, a lot of the issues will be solved later on with resuming the counter trade, and that's going to be a separate session. Some of those already, as I showed you, RSI price base. Let's just go back to RSI. Let's just see RSI. What are you saying? What are you saying, RSI? And RSI is saying, well, once I get to this area, it's not really safe to start trading me. Where? Right here. Okay, it's not really a sell signal, but it's a rejection off of that. The sell signal will actually activate right there. Okay, it warns us here. This should be a RSI price-based warning signal. And this is going to be our sell signal. It's going to be right about right there. Yeah. So there's that. You know. Do you understand what I'm saying? So prices, at that point, it would have been really easy to see prices not in the next health. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not in the next, because there's a local health here. It's not in the next health. And there's other things that I'm going to point out to you, because that's what I want to get to today, talking about the move up to 69,000. 69,200. Don't worry, I'm giving you guys the meat. Okay. So, number 7. From March 2026, price rose counter to the main trend. We have already discussed the target and knowing where it was at helped us to, what should we have done here, by the way? Can anybody tell me, what should we have usually done here at this point if we were bullishly taking counter trend? What was probably a good strategy for us? At that area. Somebody help me? Blessings, Chris. Good morning. Anybody want to point out what might have been good? Take profit. That's fine. That's exactly right. Good job. This would have been good to note. This target was, we've already discussed the targets, and to know where it was at. What if know where it was at would have helped us to know where we want to take profit or some profits, at least some. Walk away like a boss. It would have also told us an important action to take, and I don't expect anyone to get this, but the answer is to read. And that is to read. Okay, we use these moments to read. Okay, the top in May. And let me see. Price moves counter the May trend until, I should say, until May 6th, 2026. Good, good, good. Oh, not that one. And I better put number 6 in here. Did I miss number 6? Okay, then this is number 6. Maybe I went right to number 6. Sorry. Are we? Let's redo that. Save image. I'm making sure that you guys have a good record in these reports. You're walking away with these from these reports with a good learning. Come. Now, RSI gives us a warning. And I'm going to make sure I just put that on the board for you here with a little call out so you guys know. RSI hits the top. RSI hits the top. Next color change. Warning given. Next weakness can be identified. Weakness area can be identified. Below uptrend. Okay, and I'm gonna just put it here so you can have that. And weakness activated. Weakness activated. Not hard, right? Anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. So we're not getting stuck. Okay. As I told you, we can do a few things with this. RSI price base is just one. Target system is just another. Volume is another. If I was, and I've been spending a lot of time, and again, I got to apologize because I've been spending a lot of time teaching volume. And a lot of you guys are not ready for that. So again, that's why I'm doing my whole manuscript. I got my next seminar here about this, but the very first parts of my manuscript are all focused on dividing the things into my book into levels. And I got a lot of stuff I want to say, and a lot of that is like levels 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, for volume 1, I want to spend a lot of time on just levels 1 through 4, maybe 5. Depends on how big the complete works are. The stuff about maybe gold cuts and gain, all that stuff is going to come in the later stuff. I've been giving you too much meat, and you're not ready for it. The masses, at least, are not ready for it. We still need milk, and I'm going to teach you guys how to go from milk to at least some solid food using this. It's not an insult. It's a wake up for me that I'm like, okay, that's where you guys need the help. Let's do it. Let's get you trained. Okay, so let's go back to these basics. Let's go back to some of the stuff so we can put it in a context and walk away from here like a boss. So we know what's going to happen. Now, I'm giving you 3 examples so we can know when the fight's coming in. All right, now we're going to get into volume. Now, as you can say, as I already know, I told you something fishy is going on here with the volume. This is the next part. Volume is one of the 3 advanced subjects that we can talk that can help us to read. RSI price base, target system, volume. Let's take a look now at volume. Okay. So let's give you a little bit of meat, because I'm going to hold your hand with these ones. I won't hold your hands with all the other ones after a certain time in the future, but I will hold you to that standard, at least after a month. So, you know what I mean? We looked today at RSI price base and understanding its role in the larger story, the main trend. And because the trend is our friend, it's been good to us. RSI price base target system. We should say we looked at RSI price base and target system. And understanding its role in the larger and understanding its role in our larger story, the main trend, because the trend is our friend. Colon. Let's now take a look at volume. Let's now take a look at our next more advanced concept, volume, and see if it had anything to say. At the end, we will put it all together to give us a good idea about what's happening next in Bitcoin regarding the fight. In the larger story. Going back down or up in the larger story. Hoop. Okay. For this, we got to go to a different chart. So BTC USDT on Binance. Okay, so we're going to go from the dollar to there. All right, this is the other chart. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Let's draw some other important factors that I'm not going to go into today because that's for another day. The parabolic. And for this, on a white background, we're going to do a yellow, but we just need to bring it down. I am going to draw the uptrend for that one, the counter trend, and the weakness it revealed. And we will just replace these with some weakness markers, so you guys all know, just more a little bit at a glance, what Bitcoin was actually doing during these times, so that we have some kind of way to look. And now I'm going to show you again where the next counter marker is, and I'm just going to put some price on the board, and then I'm going to focus on the volume. Okay. Nope, not the text. I want to put the price note. 63,000. That was number 8, right? 7. Okay, we're going to do number 8. Number 8. Price resumed its major downtrend under 87K and 78K approximately. What did volume have to say? Well, let's take a look. And I've already said, we now move from BTC USD to BTC USDT, measured in tether, which is tether dollars. This is because the volume is acting funny and suspicious over the last few months for many cryptos in US dollars on many cryptos. But the tether will still give us accurate data. I'm going to zoom in on this area. We're going to focus on it, see what it says. Can anybody already make a determination about what you think might be happening near this area here? Near 85K. What is happening near 85? Let's see. What happened as we got to this low? Anybody? Good job, Camino. I saw your comment earlier. We see high volume down bars. I'm going to point it out. Text. Nope. High volume down bars into local health. Here's the down bar, here's the down move, and we have a local health. Now I'm going to point this out, that this is a local health. Local health. Okay. We also see regarding this that the volume dries up. Volume trends lower at the challenge area. Okay. Twice. If I were to put an arrow, it would look like this. We're going to break that up. Does everybody see that? the areas we're comparing them to are here, here, and here, approximately. Everybody see that? This is the related areas. Here, here, and here. This is a little bit of a advanced concept. Okay, we're looking at the principle of absorption and control. This here, from the low in November 2025, is a concept. I should say is the principle of absorption / control. It lets us know who is winning at a particular area. In this case, buyers winning. And we got to say buyers are winning. But you're saying, but Jae-sung, what just happened about the larger trend? Well, we're going to get to that. Absorb. This is advanced, so you guys know I explain this all the time. But basically, what we're looking at, and I'll explain this here. Let me put a number on this one. The last number was number 7, so this will be number 8. Okay. Nope, that's got to be number 9. Okay. Sorry, guys. Take another picture. There we go. Absorption and control, as I always teach you, is this here. Okay. Absorption / control of the floating supply. This is a principle of supply and demand taught by such experts such as Tom Williams and Gavin Holmes in their company's Trade Guider. I didn't make this up. In the subject of VSA. which is volume spread analysis. A language of reading the relationship between the volume and price. This can be used to calculate both buyers and sellers. Can be used for buyers or sellers, but must be done individually. But must be read individually. You can't calculate buyers and sellers in the same move. You have to put it all together. So basically solve one math problem at a time. Okay. Lack of absorption and control looks like this, is when there's too much buyers and sellers at the challenge area. Often associated with bullish or bearish harmony. Which is very important to the major trend. Bullish and bearish harmony of the main trend, which is why I'm bringing this up. Okay. This is a simple reminder of that. Okay, that's advanced. I'm going to get more into that in my book. I've already given you guys tons of videos about that. So in my lessons page, there's a bunch of tutorials about volume. That's that. Oops. So I'm not going to get all into that today because I don't have time. I want to do this. I want to teach you guys that. Oh, and by the way, I needed to put the little checkbox because that's my standard notation. I wish I had a symbol I can upload into my trading view. I can just give you my custom symbol for that. But those are the two. Okay. That's a basic. I think that's the easiest way. I've taught it a few different ways over the years. I think that's the easiest way to kind of simplify some of this. So at this point here, for number 10, we could see that the buyers are winning. The volume is going down. That's what the volume was doing. And the clue that we use for this is a move into health. Number 11, or number 10. The biggest clue is that there is a move into health. Having this makes trading counter trend safer. However, it does not exempt us from the larger trade. However, please, 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 okay, this does not exempt us an exempt price from the larger trend. Okay, I did my homework, Jason. I did my homework. Great. I'm now bullish. We're gonna ride this to the top. Did the trend change? Okay. Why do you guys think I'm spending so much time on number one, level one? Spent 3 hours giving you guys a seminar about this because it doesn't do me a good hella beans if I teach you like, oh yeah, I think you got an opportunity here, and you guys turn that opportunity into the journey into the fires of Mount Mordor, which is what I'm talking about. Okay. It's not going to help you if I give you fish, my friends. It's not going to help you if you can't read this part, because that's what's going to be the ones that save you. Okay, getting these three is like almost the whole foundation. You know, when I first was teaching this years ago, I taught it it's called, I used to call it the price flow. And I would teach price flow, and I got so bored with it. I didn't really spend too much time with it. I would always do it like as an afterthought, as if I assumed everybody got it, and that all the downtrends. But over the years, I found that you guys are missing some of this stuff. These are the real easy things, and that's why I'm giving this to you like in a more manual. But I'm also stressing how important it is. Okay, I'm really stressing how important some of the stuff is. Now I'm not focused on right here on this big part for this. This is in the book. The smaller stuff later on is like here, okay? That stuff. Because if you got this, it's gonna help you. But what if you want to take those counter trends? I want to take those buys, Jason. Okay, if you're gonna take them, now you're ready for the better stuff. I'm not gonna send you to your doom, but you can take advantage of these techniques if you did your homework. You already know where the big trend is. You already know when the stuff resumes. Because as I just said right now, price is not exempt even with buying or selling. Okay, just because you win the game locally doesn't mean you won it forever. Okay, this is super, super critical. Okay. This is very important stuff. What just happened here? Okay, there we go. Putting everything here in nice little important text boxes so that we have a good record of how this stuff unfolds. Number 11. This is so critical. Price still fell, though local buyers were winning. What happened? The main trend was still in play. Now, I talk about this in depth in my books and in my main book, yet to be released, and the mini book, The Right Questions, Level 1. Okay. Today's purpose is to give important context when taking counter trends. Okay, this is that. This is why I'm taking my time, so that you guys can take trades like this one and like maybe that one. There's another one we're going to get to in just a moment. So you know when price moves into hell today, what to do. Okay, so let me show you again. We're going to now number 12. This information cannot be overlooked. The information, I should say, the information of the main trend. Of the main trend cannot be overlooked. Okay, good. Even if local buyers are winning, okay? It must be examined. And often at the higher time levels. This is a bit advanced, but not beyond any of you. Level 1 saves us all the headache. Okay, level 1 tells me I have no business buying here. Level 1 tells me we have no business buying here. We could get those if we wanted to. But if we wanted to take them, how do we take them? It gives us clear defined exits. Okay, this helps know when it's like Mother May I. You know, do we have time to, you know, like you guys know from either the Squid Games. I don't recommend watching Squid Games. There's a YouTube show. There's a show on TV that's a game show that recreates the Squid Games. Even they all wear like a fake bullet that when they die they go, and then they fall on the ground and go to sleep. There's a little girl that she's at the end of this large, you know, playground, and it's called Red Light, Green Light, and she's like this little freaky Chinese doll, you know, that goes, and then she turns her head around and looks like her head turns all the way backwards, and when she looks at you, if you move, you're frozen. You cannot move. If you move, you die. The goal is to get to the end. Then she'll turn her head back around and face away from you and start singing. And she'll stop singing and turn her head really quick. And if you're moving, you can't. Now, how do you get to the end? You have to wait until she's turned around, and you have to watch when she's going to turn her head. This is the concept of Humunga Dunga. This is basically the market. Okay. If I'm going to trade counter trend, when does the doll turn her head around? Make sense, right? When is it time and it's safe? And when do we have to stop? You understand? Okay. I think that's probably something I should put in my book. You know, talk about that. All right. I think I'm gonna write that down right now. Make sure. I'll put pictures on here. When to stop. So we already talked about when to stop today. We talked about how there was the RSI price-based signal to sell here. We mentioned that earlier in today's video. RSI price base sell signal. And we already talked about that one over here as well. Okay, we already did that. Level 1 saves us all a headache. By not participating. How do you spell headache? By not participating in the counter trade at all. But if we wanted to, we can. But we have to know when it's time to stop. This is why I teach clear, defined exits. C number, what was the number? What was it? I mentioned it earlier. So helps us know we can trade against the midterm holding. So we can short-term scalping, subtrade price, take profit. Let us know when important action to read. Okay. Oh, well, I'll just write this down. Remind you. When it's time to stop, to do so, remember, you must have a plan, an escape plan, which I told you guys earlier. It's in one of the pictures I took. Escape plan, which is clear, defined exits. So you take profit when you need to. And I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to circle just to remind you guys what we talked about earlier in the video about the RSI price base. All right. Let's go back to the volume, because this volume here did not win out against the larger trend. Make sure we had all that. Yep. So this volume, so this buying, and I'll do number 13. So this buying in this area did not overcome the main trend. Right here. Was there anything else in the volume that could have been a factor and told us what was going on? Well, let me show you. Well, not necessarily there, but in the market, you guys know USDT.D gave us a big clue about that. I told everybody, I made no secret in October, November, that told everybody, get out of the market, get out of the market. Okay, so I'm not going to go all into that. That would have been a fourth advanced concept. One I teach often is the counselor, USDT.D, which told us to exit the markets in November, October 2025. And a fifth is the larger trend. let me show you. See next chart. Okay. So we're just going to quickly take this screenshot. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'm going to get into this somewhat on Saturday in my next part of my seminar. Okay. But it's here. Look. Okay. I'm going to go to the weekly chart. And I talked about this in my video right here. We draw the foundational up move. The whole thing was in a larger negative area. Larger weakness. $14. Price is already in a larger weakness. And we're going to go back to this because this is part of level 1 that you guys would have caught. Easily seen by a level 1. It's not right. The word, the right word is not adept. It's not really practitioner weakness, but by a level 1 student of this art. Okay. Easy. Okay. But see my book for that. Okay. And then there's other concepts which was also in my book showing the event line and things like that, showing the second weakness and a few other things. Okay. But this is lets us know where things are going south. Okay, so where we have permission to start looking, we have to look for something new. Okay, now I'm going to go past that because that's not for the purpose of today, but I do speak about this in depth in the book that was released to you guys this weekend. That's going to be under this page here. Near the end of this section. Is it? I think right. Oh, this is for these local ones, right? This is not so far. So this is going to be found like here, here. Oh, that's Ethereum. That was, where's my one's from this one? Sorry, it's up here. Is it that one? Ah, here we go. So that's going to be found like things like this. Okay. Now, let's go back into these last before I finished today. Let's go back into the smaller and smaller and smaller stuff. So we now know that buying was not exempt, although it was a nice little profit. Price was phasing into these weaknesses. A nice little profit. So buying came in here, and I just want to make sure we are honest about that. Okay, so we're not making a mountain out of a molehill. So we're right where the buying came in. And usually I'll put a little B symbol like that. Now, what about this second area? I taught you guys what to look for. Do we see the same thing? Yes, we do. Higher volume into another health. Okay, so before, when we phase into health, it looks like this. Phase into health. Here's another example of a local health where we phase into health. Okay, and we're going to now move this and copy all of these same things because we see the same thing. Here we challenge this lower area. Here we have another high volume bar. Here we have the next challenge. Point it out to you guys. This is a duplication of the same exact thing, although there's one big striking difference, which we're going to talk about in just a few moments. This is very, very interesting. Phase into health. Phase into health. Another set of buying where we're examining. We're examining here. We're examining here. And we're examining here. Is it here? Let's move this one here just to make things a little simpler. Not pass, it should say phase. Okay. And I'm going to now put this in the text. And let me find what number I'm at. 14. I'll be on number 15. March 8th, 2026. 2026. Price again phases into health. The main trend is still down at that point. Counter trend opportunity appears. Bullish counter trend opportunity. Okay. Price is and let me see, the main trend is still down at the point, and we know that simply because lower lows, lower highs, which is necessary, you guys master. Very, very necessary at that time. Yet, the same exact buying appeared, advanced. You guys know that's why I'm doing this class today. It's not super advanced, but somewhat advanced, okay? Advanced. Same exact buying appeared on the down bar, has to happen on the down bar move, smaller trend or a trend into health. Okay, so this is how we know. Then we also know, as a subset of that, absorption and control took place again. Okay, this means local buyers are winning. Means local buyers winning. Look for price to move up. Keep your eyes, as we learn, however, as I am teaching, keep your eyes on the larger trend. Humunga dunga. Okay. The purpose for today is not to teach you so much about that humunga dunga, because that's what's going to be for some of the stuff I'm already talking about on Saturday and things like that. Okay, my job is to teach you today what you're looking for when you want to take the counter trades. This is the counter trade. Counter trend trade. This is the counter trend trade. Okay. So you guys are not confusing stuff that should not be confused. This is number 15. So this gives us permission to buy here. Okay, to clarify, this is permission to buy locally. Clarification. This is permission to buy locally. Plan must be in place. This is not discussed today. There's no time for that today. But RSI price base was given as warning, and we already covered that earlier in today's video. And I'll give you where the date, what that was. Let me see, make sure you get the date for that RSI signal. It was, we did this one earlier in the video. Was this triggered as early as there? What just happened? I drew a trend line in white. That's what probably happened. It was triggered as early as April 14th. RSI warning, April 14th, 2026. For those of you guys watching it, it would have been there. Approximately. Actually, yeah. Even on the 14th, around 14th. Yeah, that is. Okay. RSI was given as a warning around April 14th, 2026. And what I want to do is move this up like that. Okay, good. Big crayon. RSI price base, warning, warning, then signal. Okay, so we had permission to buy local only. Okay, did I have any questions about that one? Yeah, Lily, I can do that at the end. Okay, we got it? I'm giving you guys gold. If you see this and you learn this on some of these charts, it's got to cross over to lots of your charts. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. Now, did not exempt us. 18. Remember. As I said earlier. 17. Remember. Buying locally does not exempt price from the major trend, the major items happening, the larger weaknesses, the larger volume information, the larger RSI signals, the larger whatever, etc. Okay, there's lots of things. Targets. Does not. We must be vigilant. You must stay vigilant. Okay, we must not turn local trades into long term without valid reasons. Okay. All right. We're almost to the end. I am breaking this down. I'm giving you my best. $18. Two weaknesses appear. I'm going to do a text weakness. Next weakness appears. Next weakness appears. Price is bearish. Next weakness appears. Next weakness area, I should say. Okay. Now, what did we learn? We learned about local health. We learned a few things, and there's more I would like to share with you regarding all of this, because this helps us put together the advanced stuff. So when you say, well, what reasons do you have that it's going up, Jason? If you don't know how to put together the smaller stuff, it's not going to help you, even if I tell you what I think is going to happen this week. Otherwise, I'll make you dependent on me. My goal is not to make you dependent on me. My goal is to educate you on how to read. If your trade gives you permission to trade, are you looking immediately in the opposite way of when to get out? Most of you are not. If your trade gives you permission to trade, are you looking in the opposite direction of when to get out? When to get out. If your trade gives you permission to buy, are you honestly looking in the right direction of when to get out? You will know this as a level 1 practitioner, student of this art. You need to be aware of when those things, and you need to be aware of what season you're in. You need to be aware of the larger seasons that you might be in. You need to be aware of concepts like bearish harmony, which I'm going to be introducing in just a moment. Okay. Let's collapse this. And we're going to bring this down. Where's my panel? Normally there's like an arrow here, and I think I just got rid of it on accident. Let's see if I can put it back. Oh, I know how to do it. Okay, let's go to that one, and that one. I don't know what happened, but this needs to come all the way to the bottom. Good. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we come here and we have high volume on the down bar, down move. Where's the more buying coming in? It's possible some more buying may be coming in this area. And when we challenge back lower, from here and here, it's more of the same. We phase into health. Again. Does everybody see that? Phase into health. Counter trend. This is number 18. This is what's happening this week. If you've been paying attention so far, this is going to make perfect sense. Counter trend, counter trade, area resumes. Area resumes. Bullish. Action. This is denoted by price moving into health again. Local health. Price has a high volume down bars into health, challenged again lower on declining volume. This is trending, therefore it's trending absorption control by buyers. And I'm going to say it again. Remember, this does not exempt traders from the local buyers from the larger trend. All right. So the question becomes, well, then where is the larger trend in the concept? I already gave it to you at the beginning of today's video. I'll cover it again. And what signals are there that we are going there? Okay, and this is number 19. Okay, let me make this like size that so I can put more on the screen. So the question begs or becomes, since what we learned putting together, everything we learned today, and I'll put this, so putting together today's lesson, the question becomes, where does the main trend resume? if we're in bullish cryptos, where do we get out? If in bullish cryptos, where on the chart, where/when does it show we should get out? What signs are there that the main trend really will resume? Is it just because Jason thinks so or said so? Where or what signs are there that the main trend will resume? Okay, this is number 19. Okay. We have to ask ourselves these questions. This is going to be very, very important. Okay, because if we have more or less the same, this is the third time that we did this today. 3 times. I ain't making this stuff up. If we have permission to trade locally. So remember, counter trade area resumes, bullish action, local permission to buy. Okay. And will this local up move turn into a larger buy or a larger trend? What evidence, if so? Okay, I'll give that. Let me put some question marks at the end of these. Because I think and the biggest of all those questions that was up there, when will the larger trade resume? So where does the main trend resume? If in bullish cryptos, where or when on the chart does it show we should get out? Or cryptos like this, specifically where should we get out? Specifically in Bitcoin. Note, remember, what happens in Bitcoin happens in the entire market. In general, there are exceptions to the rules. But you guys need to remember that, okay? These are the next. What signs are there that the main trend will resume? And will this local move turn into a larger trend? If so, what evidence, if so? Okay. I think these are valid questions. I think that these are the questions that you would need to ask in this context. Okay. I think these are very, very valid questions in a situation where you're counter trading. Everybody needs to be aware and be thinking about this question. Whether you agree with my analysis or not, you'll come up with your own conclusions. You may have your valid reasons. You may sit there and say, I'll never see, because you're looking at charts I'll never look at. These questions will serve you your whole life. Okay. I showed you 3 times we're counter trading. Okay. What to do when we're in those areas. How to read it. How to know if it's okay to trade it. And also how to understand when it's time to stop. Okay. Where to look. At the very beginning of this lesson, I gave you that. What did I give you? The parabolic. This is a reminder to look at the parabolic. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put that here. A reminder to look at image notes number 3 and the parabolic in image note number 4, sorry, yeah, number 4. For us, answer, the main trend resumes above 75,000, or may resume, should say, above 75,000. Other factors must also be considered. However, other factors must be considered. Now, this does not equal important. This does not equal a trade from now up to 75,000. I'm giving it to you raw. I'm giving it to you real and genuine. This does not equate to a bullish trade till 75K at this time with this data. See following images as to why. Okay. And we're going to use the counter trade health back here to show. Okay. I'm going to hide my lines. Simplify this. Okay. I talked about a simple counter trade in this area in today's video. We did 3 of these, okay, so far. And we're on the 3rd one. Down move becomes local health, and we have permission to buy. But let me see. I took the wrong screenshot. Yeah. This is not the one I want to show. I want to show you that one. Yep. Okay. Let me do that again. Sorry. Down move becomes local health, permission to buy. Not exempt from the major trend such as RSI, but also easy things like the flat here. We also saw, remember, RSI sell signal, which we covered already. I'm just reminding you. But also a flat right there. Now we're talking about local health. That's number 1. Local health, down move, becomes health. And we need to be aware of things like the flat. And I'm going to give you the average flat, which is approximately there. You guys see that? See what I'm talking about? Where are we now? We are there. Okay. This is the kind of stuff that is in addition to things like the RSI cell, because there was actually 2 RSI cells, which we talked about today. It was here and it was here. And I mean, let me make sure I write that down. This is a simplified look at what some of the findings we found today. Is there a 3rd? We need to take a look. Is a third signal in the works? We can see that. That's how we find out the main question for today, which was, how do we find a fight? Reminder of main question for today. When counter trend trading, we must see where and how much fight is in the trade. Okay, I'm going to show you something quickly. The first of this part, for this section, I'm going to go into the bearish harmony. And I'm going to make sure, what number was I on? Let me give it to you like this. The number was 19, so this will be 20. Okay. 20, actually, let me give you that on a different page, so that'll be good. All right, good. So for number 20, counter trend trading, how much fight is in this? Right now, we can see easily some resistances are near the flat. That's something. Will those resistances be enough to take us down or stop us from trading? 21. We can see easily price has resistance near the flat areas. Is this enough to stop bullish trading? It's enough to answer. It's enough to know that there is stronger risks. Okay, flat average is near, let's find the price. What is this? And what is the price? Around 66,000. Stronger risk around 66K. We do not have strong confidence at this time that price will safely cross over or sustain any higher moves. Okay, with just this data. Let's look further, okay? I'm showing you guys how to look, how to read, so you can make more proper assessments. More study is required. And we're going to, okay? Because that's what I'm here for. As an educator, teach you how to ask and write the right questions. Okay? If we now look at the concept of bearish harmony, we're going to pull up the volume and we're going to keep looking at the something called bullish harmony. And I'm going to add the text here. Oh, sorry, bearish harmony. You guys learn something powerful in these lessons. I'm giving you guys some of my best material. Bearish, the concept of harmony. Harmony concept. It is advanced. It is a concept that is in the area of VSA. Okay, let's get into it. Not harmony. This is a concept that is adapted from the teachings of certain experts like Wyckoff and Tom Williams. Specifically, test in falling market, test in falling / rising market. Okay, I just simplify it to bearish harmony. Okay, I teach this as bearish bullish harmony. Okay, and how we read this is when volume can be identified. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. 23. When buying / selling can be identified, a further investigation can be performed by simply reading the relationships between those areas themselves. I used to teach this, and when I used to teach it, I would call it macro versus micro. And I think that I'm trying to find just the best way to teach this, but basically we're combining. Once you find a bunch of apples, you need to compare those apples with each other, because now you have a baseline for what another layer of the cake. What is those apples telling us? Okay, together. So I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. Okay, those areas. So a further investigation can be performed by simply reading those relationships between those areas of buying together. Previously taught as macro micro. I stopped using those words, because I found other teachers were actually just kind of teaching it more as the word harmony, and I like that harmony. I like that macro micro. So let me give you an example. See example. Now, on this chart, we can see that there was buying here, right? Down bar, right? There was buying. We already discussed this. Okay, we already talked about the buying that was there. We talked about the buying that was there. We could have talked about the stopping volume or the buying that was here. Okay. Now, pay attention, because this is advanced concept. Does anybody notice anything about these three areas of buying? Buying area number 1. Anybody put it in the chat, unmute your microphone, tell me what you observe. Buying area number 1. Buying area number 2. And buying area number 3. What do we notice about this? I'm giving you guys gold here, man. I'm giving you guys gold. I don't care what your grandma says. Okay, good. I see volume spikes. Okay, well, we see volume spikes. We need those to find the buying. So that's a given. We need that. Okay. So what else do we see? There we go. Good job, InvestBox. We see volume rising at each of those areas. See examples for buying areas 1 through 3. We can easily observe that even though buying occurred, that price still was falling into weakness after some time. This was actually a test in a falling market. Okay, and Tom Williams teaches this concept. I don't like how they teach it. It was a little too complicated. I like how I teach it a little better. But I'm not the best teacher either. So I'm trying to get it to, like, I can kind of like make it magically make sense, so to speak. I like things like arrows and, you know what I mean? To make this such easy. Here I'm going to put add a shape. I'm going to add this little that. Okay. The relationship is as such that we can see areas 1, areas 2, and areas 3 are still increasing. When you have an increase in volume from lows, generally price is saying, I want to trade lower. Okay, I'm going to go number 23. This was actually a test in falling market. The test determines if traders are willing to trade at those lower levels. They're basically saying, hey, yeah, a lot of people are willing to part with their crypto at lower prices. 24. A test determines how many traders are willing to part with this crypto or the stock at lower prices. That's important because if you're going to pay a price and you're in the market for a, just say you're in a market for a cell phone. I want to try Mint Mobile. I'm tired of paying a higher price at Verizon. I want to pay a cheaper price for my wife's phone. She's got access to our home internet. We don't really need all the fancy stuff that I may have on my Verizon plan. Mint Mobile, every 2 or 3 months, gives me a deal. And Mint Mobile says that I get this email that says a whole year for $180. I'm like, done. That would be great. But if I didn't act when I was supposed to, and they say, oh, we're going to give you 3 months for only $15 a month, I'm going to wait a couple more months because I already know every few months I get this email for the whole year for $15 a month. Sometimes I even get a 2-year email for $15 a month. You have to pay all up front. I wasn't ready to pay up front at one time. I was like, oh man, So, but I think that's a great deal. Now, the email I get today is for 3 months for $15. You think I'm going to pay it? No, I know the market's willing to go lower. If you go to a car dealership and you're trying to buy a car and the car is listed as $30,000, but you know that, you're paying one of the highest price, okay, because you were there last week and it was on sale for $15,000. You're like, I know I can get a better price. I'm not going to pay that price. The indicators that the market will give you that prices are going lower are based on many factors in real life. Psychologically, the large players who will accumulate are not accumulating at the areas you're accumulating, if at all. Now, this is different between a distribution phase. This is not selling. It's like a waiting. And if they're waiting, guess what? You guys should wait too. Okay? Just letting you know. Okay. Now, this is just a little side note. Note This is not distribution. This is a completely different subject. Completely different subject. Okay, so that you guys I'm trying to give you guys some of this advanced stuff. Okay, if you guys want the easy stuff, come on Saturday. I'm giving you guys, like, this is the right different subject. Okay, a test determines how many traders are willing to part with a crypto or stock at lower prices. If the major of the smart money players, I like that word, know they can get a cheaper price before they participate, they will wait. They play the long game because they don't have retail tendencies. Oh, we need a FOMO, we need to get in right now. No, you got to start thinking like they do. Okay, this is a huge indication of how they're playing. And let's take another image and put that in here. When you have an increase in volume at the challenge areas, you're almost likely going to see a down move. And this is further exacerbated by the fact of lack of interest, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. The second clue, okay? And I'm going to talk about why this is important. Again, I'm putting it all together for you guys. You learn this on one crypto, you're going to learn it on the whole market, okay? I'm not giving you a fish. I'm giving you the secrets on how to read, how they read. In a bearish market, this is only going to make you money if you're shorting. It's going to give you skill on when you're counting trading, on when to get out again. It's going to let you know very much during a bullish market, when things are upside down, all these same principles are going to apply. Bearish, bullish harmony. For now, I may not be able to make you $1 million. I can save you a lot of money by being aware of these bigger stuff. Okay, just letting you know. All right. The number for this was, what's the number? $20.24, $21. $22, $23. Come. So we're on number 25. $25. This is important because if the market tells large players it's okay to go down, price often will. Why pay higher prices, especially with $1 million portfolios? This is how the banks play. Positions. If they know the market will give them lower prices to buy. This simple fact alone teaches retail that they need to sit on their hands, but they don't listen. Okay? This simple fact teaches helps us stay calm and know what the large players are likely to do. bullish / bearish harmony continued. This is bearish. Okay. This is 20. This is going to be number 25. Okay. Now let's go a little bit further because I want to teach you the real stuff about this. I am spending time giving you the best kind of quality I can. The final clue to what's happening, and this is going to be some of the last stuff before we leave Bitcoin, this teaching alone. 26. The final clue to help put bullish / bearish, bullish or bearish harmony in context is the lack of interest in the counter moves. Okay. There is one more. But it's not discussed today. It's number 27. There is one more major clue in volume that also lets us know what to do, just as lack of interest does. And that is selling. Okay, there may be selling. Okay, high volume, and that is selling, but that's not discussed today. Selling, showing up in the volume. This is additional distribution and often new selling forced on the larger players if they themselves are losing. And what I mean by that is if they did not plan to sell. I've seen it a few times, and I can point it out. Like after price moves into a major weakness, you'll see price round back up, and then you'll see them get out. You need to be aware that when that happens. So often forced on by selling by large players if they themselves did not sell previously, and they are losing too much. This is when the market forces them to liquidate their positions if they were. Okay, this is not taught today, but often appears when price moves too far against their initial buy positions and they are forced into liquidity. Often this will appear on an up move after a major weakness area has been activated. And for that, like we can look at Gala. I think Gala is a good example of that. We move into a weakness and then price has up moves, but those up moves are in high volume back into weakness. And I'll just write that down. High volume up bars phased into weakness. I mean, you see that often. Okay, that means players are getting out. Okay, this is not taught today. We're going to be focusing on here. Okay, so lack of interest on the counter move. Here's how it works. Lack of interest on the counter move. The number is 28. We're going to see the up move on declining volume. We're going to see the up move on declining volume. And we may see the up move on declining volume. Although the real health for this one was here. We may see the up move on declining volume. Declining volume. Declining volume. Okay. It's hard to see here, so we're going to have to zoom in. This is lack of interest. Okay. Are you guys getting it? We're on 28 then, right? I think. Let's put it in here. 27, 28. Yep. Sorry. So we know where to look for. Lack of interest in the counter trend move is often the biggest clue, even if one did not notice the bullish or bearish harmony. Even if one did not notice the bearish/bullish harmony. In this context, we'd be looking at bearish harmony. In this context, observing the bearish harmony. Okay. It lets us know price does not want to go up. This is the biggest stuff, guys. This is the biggest stuff. This is better than the indicators, because you can just read this stuff on the fly and be like, oh, I know where the real meat is. And price may be noisy, but you're waiting for the noise to quell and for things to go back to normal, because most of the noise is unsustainable. Almost all the noise is. You get this stuff, you got it. You got it. Okay. Lack of interest, and this is the symbol I put in X. And you guys know how often I talk about my X, right? No. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Oh my gosh. You're supposed to laugh. Okay? So this lets us know when you see. But even more so, the biggest easy way to do this, number 28, or now we're going to do number 29, is lack of interest into weakness. It's just 29. 29. Lack of interest can be often acted on as a trade signal. Can often be acted upon as a trade signal when, number 2, it's in context. In context, you've done your homework, which is your due diligence. Not homework you turn in. And the easy one, number 3, it phases into weakness in a downtrend, in a main downtrend, or health in an uptrend. 30. Because we are calculating for the uptrend, in this example, okay, because we are calculating for the counter trend, waiting for it to resume back down, or waiting for weakness to really appear before we exit, the counter trend, in this case bullish, simply because we're waiting for the counter trend to resume us back down. In this context, the uptrend is used. The uptrend is the move going the wrong way. And let me remind ourselves that it must be in context. For this to generally work, we see bearish harmony. I forgot to put that on there, which we already covered in slides 24 through 26. The uptrend move is going the wrong way. So to apply the signal, draw the up move. Draw the up move, identify where the weakness should appear. That should be number one. Draw the up move, identify where the weakness should appear, which is number two, real easy. And let me put this near the bottom. Right there. Identify the weakness should appear. And number three, confirm lack of interest in the background. Now, Tom Williams, Gavin Holmes, they're all about the background. They'll always teach you, like, what does the background say? The volume only makes context. Volume for VSA only makes correct context if you know what the background is saying. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. Steps. We're going to call this slide number 31. Okay, so we're going to try to apply the signal to this just using volume alone. So here's we're going to draw the up move, number one. And I'm going to write this in black. Okay? Number one. We're going to identify the weakness. It's underneath this up move. Activated. Weakness. Activated. Okay, we're going to identify that one. Check. That one. Identify where the weakness should appear. Check. We're going to confirm lack of interest in the background. Is the volume declining? Yes, it is. For the most part, if we phase into that weakness, done. You can't see that, can you? Okay, next. Here we go. Okay, good. Here's another one. Up move, declining volume, and these actually should be red. How about that? Okay, so we got our up move. That should be green. Weakness area somewhere underneath that line. We would get that. This is how we can apply this. Every time. Yep. Lack of interest on the up move. And a better option, number 4, this often optional. Often this will happen into a resistance or known resistance. Okay, which is something you will have to do. Okay, we know this one here. We already talked about the range, right? Already previously. This one we know. Okay, this one we'd have to see target system, which will reveal that area. Okay, which we already, I think we did that earlier in one of the steps. Okay, often. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's apply this, what we learned. We're on step number 32 for today. And that's going to sum up everything I've taught you for today. Okay. Because we now can look to see where some of this is at. We got a up move. Is the up move on lack of interest? Is the up move right now on lack of interest? So we know where it's time. Now we already know some of the resistances. I already showed you they are there. Up near these prices for Bitcoin. Let me show you. Let me delete these. We got 69,003. We got 69,002, which is about right here. And then we got the big 75, 73, 75. Okay. Let's take this for now and talk about this. Local down move today, Bitcoin. Let's pull up the volume. We got to look at the volume. Okay, so let's look at the volume. And we're going to see if we see any kind of pattern so far. Okay, so in this up move. And then we're going to go and look back about the micro. Do we see any kind of thing about this so far? To me, I would say from the up move, maybe we're starting to see the decline in volume. That's just me, and I'll show you why I think so. If I calculate from the bottoms here, that's what I see. Okay, I'm seeing this so far. on this up move. I'm seeing price moving up, but I'm seeing this happening. So that's going to be a little concerning for me. And I'm going to put this in my notes for 30. For 32. Add text. We want to know what's happening in the markets. This is it. Put together everything we learned today. 32. For context, of the 4 items to look for in the counter trend area that price has entered as of July, what was it? Counter trend area that price entered into July 10th week. Why does that look like it's underlined? Is it underlined? No, it's not. It's not. Okay. For context, of the 4 items we have, number 1, uptrend. We have the. Let me go. I'm going to make sure I just copy and paste what I wrote. Oh. Glitched. There we go. Copy. And we're just going to copy paste. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Steps. Draw the up move. Did we draw the up move? Yes. In this case, it's a parabolic. And I'm going to, what I'm going to do is make this a lot smaller. Step move. Did we draw the up move? Yes. Parabolic. Did we identify the main where the main weakness should appear? Yes. Did we confirm lack of interest in the background? Yes. Trending. Optional. Often this will happen in known resistance. Is it happening in known resistance? Yes. And next resistance is identified. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the final thing, which we've already done. Final conclusion. Does the bearish harmony still apply? In this case, the answer is no. Okay, no. This means a fight is going to ensue. This does not mean that the bulls have won. Will win. But it does give the bulls an advantage. Okay. There are other things we can do. Because to counter trend, remember, you have to have done the other steps, not just these steps. This is the steps for identifying the weakness, okay, when price enters. We need to understand, let's see, and I'll give this to us number 5. I'll just say number 5 to do this, so I can properly say this. This is also optional, the bearish harmony. Okay, we're going to now write a simple report based on all of these findings. Report. As of Bitcoin, 2026, July 18th. As of today, Bitcoin has moved into a local health with buying in the background. Bearish harmony has been in play, but it is not as strong, shown in, and I needed to put the number on here, right? I needed to put number 32. As in image 32, right? Image note 32. Is that 32, right? Yeah. As shown in image note 32. But just further back, there is bearish harmony. Conclusion: bears may be slowing down. Bears slowing down. Okay. However, the up move does give signs of lack of interest. Okay. No. Next, there is permission to short. Let's ask you guys. Permission to short this? Yes or no? Do I have permission to short? Do I have time so I can just sell right now? Based on at least this data. That's right, InvestBox. No permission short. We're not in weakness yet. This is the next weakness area. We identified it, but it's not there yet. Okay. Next weakness identified. We've drawn the up move. It's a parabolic. We drew that. Confirm lack of interest in the background. Yes, trending. Optional. This happens in a known resistance area. We notice the resistance. It's 60 around these areas and here in blue. Does this bearish harmony still apply? Not as strong. We checked that. This means a fight is going to ensue. It does not mean bulls will win. It gives the bulls an advantage. Okay. All right. Got it. Just to remind you guys that. Okay. There is no permission to short this today due to the fact, due to the local health and having now to wait again for another weakness. Okay. Next, let's finish with checking for RSI price base and known resistances. Known resistances, the prices are, and we'll give you the prices for them. And many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord. 6581. 65.81 area. They are 69.23. $69.238 to 68.33 area, and above that 69.380. Let's give you the average for this one. 69.809. Area. Okay, known resistances. Target system 69 to 68. That's our target. Target area. So if we're counter trading, we're going to use that and say, okay, well, there's maybe some resistance here, and then we can get there. And if you wanted to go further, you need to go down to like a 4-hour chart or something if you're going to try to take that. Okay, weakness area 63 for under 63.349. Weakness area under 63.439. Sorry, 349. Areas. Next, larger supports, 56 and 52.5. $56K and 52,500 area. Below that, 48.5. $48,500. Okay. So that would be viable. Very possible when all this is done. So I taught you how to do the counter trade today 3 times to know when there's a winner and when there's not a clear winner. And showing you now the larger harmony. I will finish because I said I was going to. Why that is. To do this, I'm going to simplify a few candles and go to weekly charts. Here we go. Here is the area you're looking at that will tell us bearish harmony. So price is supposed to go lower. The volume is still relatively high, but it's not as high as here. Okay. Relatively high on the down bar, but not higher than the previous. Sign of slowing down, but it's not a strong signal that price has slowed down. And I'll show you how to read for next. Okay, if you guys want to go further into that again, this is advanced. Some of this is advanced stuff. For further investigation, look next, and this is all in the area of bearish harmony, by the way. Bearish harmony, which I taught earlier in the video. I said I was going to give you guys just a little bit more about that. Here it is. For further investigation, look for more down moves, challenging the lows, but also finishing into health and on low. Before I say finishing into health, I don't want to confuse you guys right now too much with it. I'll say look for the down moves, challenging the lows on increased volume. this means price will fall or needs to fall lower or challenge lower. However, if the current trend continues to increase, however, if the current decline in volume occurs, this is where I'll add that, what I wanted to say earlier, continues by showing the down move, the larger, this entire larger down move is on lack of interest. By that decline, then you know that the downtrend is going to be over. So if the entire down move has a lack of interest, that's how you know. If the current decline in volume at those lows continues, by showing this entire, and I should say, at each low, continues at each low, and the entire down move is broken into health, then this shows the entire down move is on lack of interest. If so, know that the bull market will resume. Okay, that's important. Okay, this is important, and this is a final advanced teaching, final teaching for today. Advanced. It's in the advanced category. I don't expect some of you guys to get this. Some of you guys will, you're going to have to do this enough and you're going to see it. So let me show you that to you, and I need to give that a number. What was my last number? I gotta see what my last number was. $32. So that was 33. Okay, this will look like this, and I'm just going to hand draw it for you so you know where it's at. You will see something like either this, like this, the move goes into health, and let's just do what I was doing a little bit earlier. The down move will come into a health, and price will enter into that area. And if it does, and the challenges in the volume keep trending lower at the challenge, like here and here, okay, and we go into this health by phasing through, phase through. If that happens, especially if we do that or like that, okay, even better. Okay. If this happens and we phase through this area, and the volume's declining at each of those challenges, or the challenges here, or at this area, then you know that the trend is ready to move up. Because what we're calculating for is a decrease in volume. Now, generally, the volume is going to keep getting lower and lower when that happens. If that happens, you're going to look for a big move. And just as a little preview, XRP has that making on the highest time frames. XRP shows exactly that large, very large lack of interest. And you would know that the up move is ready to resume. Now, until we get there, the fight's going on. These fighters have fight left in them. Okay? The fighters have fight left in them. If you keep seeing, though, just as we have before, the volume keep increasing at the challenge area, and we keep going lower, and the volume keeps increasing, I'll show you, you know the next thing is most likely to happen, even if you were to go into health, as I showed you many times today using this teaching. If the volume keeps increasing, especially higher in volume, okay, then you know that price will come down in a very big way. That's all my teaching today. Okay. I promise I'll do one chart for Elisa, and I'm going to do that chart for her. That's what I'm talking about. You now have a good summary and a record, and you guys can use this and review the images and learn them and practice them and look for them. Here's a look on XRP to show you those principles. Okay, once you get good, you're going to be able to see it real fast. Okay, XRP on a weekly chart has been in a downtrend. There's no health. We don't have a phase into health yet. But look at the volume. I'm going to show you, let's pull up the monthly chart. Okay, look at the volume. Price is going down and the volume is drying up. Okay, we're also coming to a known support, which I've talked about lots of times. It's near 66 cents, I think it is. 66 cents. Price is in still a full down move. We're not into health, but that health may reveal somewhere around $1. Okay. $1. Okay. The volume is declining. Great, fantastic. We need to move into health. Health needed. If we go straight and we hit this area at 66 cents and price phases into, I'm teaching you, I'm giving you guys gold. You're going to use this on every crypto, guys. Price goes into this area and we go into that health. And the volume is declining. Oh my gosh. Guys, you're going to go up. It's not rocket science. In addition, this is the local. That's going to be our lack of interest. That's the lack of interest part. Now the bearish harmony part, and I'm going to put lack of interest part. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is you can see it coming. The beauty is that you can see this coming months in advance. Now I'm going to write that down. The beauty of this approach is that you can see the volume trending as price trends to help you months in advance. Okay, that's the lack of interest part. The bullish harmony part is as you're going higher, the volume is trending higher overall. Now here we can see that from here to here there is a decline in volume. So guess what? The bears have a chance to fight. Now I'm going to show you this is the exact same thing we did upside down. Okay, if I'm going up and if I'm going down, okay, but the volume's declining overall between those two areas of buying. Okay, just pretend that was a buying, just like we looked at Bitcoin today. Okay, if that is the case and the volume's declining, well, guess what? The bulls have a chance to fight. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? Okay. Decline in volume at the lows, fight ensues. Now I'm going to write that down because that's my big question for today. If buying occurred at the lows and the volume declines, it does not mean alone that price will reverse strong. But it does mean, as I wrote earlier, the counter trend has an advantage. Okay, this is the same concept. I'm just using XRP flipped upside down. It's the same principles in volume. Okay, because volume is red, whether it's upside down or wrong, it doesn't tell us bullish or bearish. It only tells us, it could be all the same color. It only tells us what's happening at those areas. It's the same principles where it's upside down or right side up. You're gonna come to the same conclusion. If this was buying, now this is actually selling, so we know that the power play right now is given to this up move in this case. Okay. This does mean the counter trend has an advantage. This means fight ensues. Okay, I don't know how to spell ensue. Ensues. Yeah, there we go. Fight ensues. Look for a stronger move, stronger move as a counter trend. In this case, an up move for a crypto like this. This is only a reverse image for teaching purposes only. Note, this image is flipped for teaching purposes only. Notice the up move is strong. Bulls have a power play. But also notice the up move from 2025 is on declining volume. Okay, so the move, this means the move is strong but won't last long. Okay, that's all that means. The move is strong but won't last long. Okay, so does everybody get that? This move up here is absolutely right, correct, because of this. The up move here is correct because of the volume. Okay, that's right. But we also see the decline. And so we don't make a mountain out of a molehill. So we don't make a bigger deal out of it than we should. Okay. This is the principles I really guys want you to get, because it's all the same thing that we taught today. That's it. Okay. Okay, this is the true thing for Bitcoin, for XRP. XRP has a chance to have that down move in real life. Now, this is the real image, okay? XRP has a chance to have this down move because of what we just saw in the volume. Yeah, I'm going to put it back to normal. You guys learn this? Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to be unstoppable. When it's time for bull runs to happen, you guys are going to be pros because you're going to have left with reading skills taught by some of these experts. I'm just showing some of the main principles that they make really complicated in ways that you can understand. Okay? We going higher, volume's going lower, bulls have a chance. In this case, it's a bear that has a chance from the local weakness back to main support. 50, 66, 55 cents. Okay? Bears in the true, and I'm going to write this down so nobody's fully left confused or something. I'm giving you guys gold here, man. I am giving you guys gold. This is fantastic information. We see that the true image of XRP on the highest monthly charts shows a decline in volume at the top. As said before, as taught before today, this means slowing down. See my images today. As taught today, this means slowing down. Bears, in this context, have a chance. They may be strong, but won't last long. However, due to the down move itself, they can show up and throw a punch, but their punch really isn't that strong. Due to the down move itself, on declining volume, the move is strong, but won't last long. That's going to be your big takeaway. Okay, this is why I believe XRP, needs to come down, but man, look at that decline in volume. When this is ready, it's gonna be game on for XRP, and we can see it months coming. It's nowhere now. It's not even close now. Okay, but when it happens, you'll know it. Okay, everybody will know it. It'll be somewhere about right there, or we'll have some position here, and then another position here, and then man, it's gonna be on. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, if we lose that support, we'll only have lost the support of our first position. If you were preemptively buying, you have to have a reason. If we challenge this low again and it's really on increased volume from here to here, that's when I'm going to be like, nope, we can get it even cheaper, and I'll go to that low. And if we had challenged that low and we go even higher in volume, I'm going to be like, nope, we can go to that low. That's going to be even more advanced. That's why I'm leaving you guys with all of this teaching. Because I'm telling you guys, when I get into some of this stuff, I want you there with me. I want you calculating with me. You gotta know. And that means I failed as a teacher by not giving you adequate resources and references as to what the heck I'm doing. I don't want to make that mistake as a teacher. That's why I'm having the seminar on Saturday. We're going to cover some of this material again. We're going to cover some more slides, some more pages from the level 1 section of my book, Crypto and Crayons. I got a lot of advanced stuff I love to get into. Okay? I got a lot of stuff I want to get into. I can't unless you guys are there with me. I can't lead the charge in the battle if I go in and I'm alone, so to speak. Now, I'm not leading the charge because this isn't a trading service. But what I mean by the charge is when I go more into education, when I go into more of the advanced concepts, I want everybody at least a level 1. This today that I taught is around level 4. Okay? But I love teaching that stuff because you guys need to know practically, hands-on. How do we fight a counter trend? That's what we taught today. I want you guys to go over your notes later today. This report will be placed in this section. There are a total of many, many images. I think this is 30, that was 33, so this is going to be 34, 34, and 30, and this will be 35, I think. Okay, I want you guys to read and study what I'm showing you, how to fight counter trend, how to understand when there's a fight. How do we know when it's safe to do so? With 2 examples prior. What is happening with Bitcoin today? That's what I leave you with. All right, I'm going to end this presentation, and then I'll be back with a little side video. I promised I was going to look at STX, so I'll look at that for Lily. God bless you. I know today's long. Man, this is the stuff. This is the juice. God bless you. Thanks, InvestBox.